Welcome back. Well, it is a temptation for so many parents giving their children snack foods which appear from the packaging to be healthy and nutritious. But new research has revealed that many of these contain very unhealthy amounts of sugar. It is an absolute minefield. We're going to try and decipher it for you. This morning we're joined by obesity expert Dr Nick Fuller from the University of Sydney and mother Belinda McDougall from the Lady Shake Food and Drinks Company. Good morning and welcome to you both.
Good morning.
I'm right in saying this, Belinda, it is a minefield, isn't it? It's not just me.
No, it is a minefield, and it's a deliberate minefield, and that's what we're trying to change. Yeah.
Explain why you say it's deliberate.
So what happened was, just a quick story, I've got a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old. They wouldn't have breakfast. I went and bought them an Up and Go, and about half an hour later there was a big sugar crash. And when I looked on the packet, I actually worked out that there was nearly 5 teaspoons of sugar in one little Up and Go, and you're only meant to have 6 teaspoons in a total day.
Wow.
So then I started to research. So what the big food companies are doing now is to confuse us, and it is deliberate, is they're putting things like 30% less sugar, but less than what? All natural. But just because something's all natural doesn't mean it's not full of sugar. High protein, but a lot of these high protein foods actually have more sugar in them than protein. And like you say, when you go to the supermarket, there's 10,000 items in a supermarket. So as mums and consumers and busy people, we can't possibly be expected to read the back. And there's actually 50 names for sugar, so even if we know how to read a label. So the companies are deliberately doing it because sugar's cheap, and they want their products to appear to be healthier than they actually are, unfortunately.
Nick, another one of the big traps that often bombards you in the packaging is low in fat, and that's not necessarily a good thing either.
No, that's exactly right, Georgie. So as Belinda's saying, the one thing that we now see with our thousands of patients that come through our doors at the University of Sydney and RPA Hospital, the largest obesity service in Australia, is their state of confusion. This is now a $100 billion health and wellness industry. People don't know what to believe. 1 minute it's low fat, the next it's carb, and the current thing is dairy. It also comes to the food manufacturers themselves. So if you have a look at some of these products, you know, we are misled with how much information we're being provided. The one thing the government could have got right with the Health Star rating, they haven't, because at the moment this is not a mandatory labelling process. So you pick up a packet, you see 4 stars, and you think it's healthy, but actually it's not.
And can we just stop on cereal, because that is an absolute minefield, I reckon. I know I just suggested to you the cereal I've been giving my kids I thought was good. You're suggesting not. What should we go for when it comes to breakfast cereals? Because we want our kids to get their day off to a good start. Yeah,
well, we should be going back to nature's treats. I mean, we evolved to seek out those calorie-dense foods, because often during our time as hunter-gatherers, we wouldn't be able to get food for long periods of time. So we needed those foods that gave us not only, well, palatable and also that pleasure response, but also very nutrient-rich and calorie-rich. So, you know, something in its natural state, like your oats are a great breakfast.
Porridge.
Yeah, porridge is a great breakfast example.
All right, do you want to run us through these other ones here that are misleading? What have we got down the end there?
So, I mean, we've got everything you can possibly think of. Anything coming out of a packet is often going to have a lot more sugar than what it's made out to be. And the one example we looked at here, where it has a 4-star rating, well, often they're very high in sugar. So, you know, these are the foods, anything coming out of a packet, we do need to start moving away from. We need to give our kids the best possible chance and be actually going around the perimeter of the supermarket and loading up with those fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, all of those nature's treats that give us that same pleasure response that we're currently getting from all of these packaged examples.
I mean, yoghurt's another example, Belinda. You think you're giving your kids healthy options there when you pack the lunchbox, but there again.
Yeah, so if you go a plain yoghurt, there's got hardly any sugar in it. But then when you come to these ones, like one little yoghurt has that much sugar in it. So that's only as much in a whole day. And it is deliberate. And you know, I come from the thought process to go, give your children whatever you want, but be aware of what it is. And so if you don't know what you're giving your children, that's not right when the companies are deliberately. So what we're calling on the government to do is to put sugar on the front of each packaging of actually how much total sugar is in each product. So when you're going through the supermarket, and you were talking about that cereal before, all of a sudden you see 6 teaspoons of sugar, 10 teaspoons of sugar, 5 teaspoons, and you can make a conscious, proper choice at what's best for your family.
Because what I've been doing, Nick, is following the star rating. So if I see something has 4 or 4.5 1.5 stars, I think, great, tick, that's a good option.
Yeah, and often we do. I mean, we push our trolley around and we're actually comparing products for their health star rating. But that star rating, the one that's on the product, is actually not mandatory. So a food manufacturer can opt in and use that if they wish to. But we as consumers aren't using it in the most appropriate way. We might compare, for example, that tub of yoghurt, which is healthy, nutritious, but because it's high in fat, it might score 1.5 stars. Then we pick up the cereal, which gets a 4-star rating. We think it's healthier. Or the packet of chips that has the 3-star rating. So we need better education around how to use the health star rating. A 5-year review was just conducted. We need to make this mandatory on all food products. It could be a very useful tool for the Australian population if it's applied correctly. And the other thing it needs to do is actually change the scoring index, because sugars are healthy if they're in their naturally occurring form. The fruits, the vegetables, and some of these other products are actually very healthy, but at the moment, all sugars are bundled together, and, you know, the added
That's
sugars...
confusing as well.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
It's the added sugars that we need to start minimalising.
Just finally, in closing, what would be your advice to parents out there watching this?
Oh my goodness, learn how to read a food label as best as you can. Take your time, research before you go to the supermarket, and then just stick to those foods. Don't worry so much about the star rating, and just try and not get caught up with all these little gimmicky things. So high protein, there's more sugar in this than there is protein. So don't worry so much about what it says on the front. And then join our petition, because we're going to Scott Morrison to ask him. And it's really easy to do that. We had the berry scandal, and then really quickly we had to put the percentage of Australian ingredients on our products.
So changes can be made.
So change can be made really easily. So
join the petition. We'll
Thank you.
Push your trolley around the outside. Get the nature's treats, because that's where we get the same pleasure response in the brain.
And don't take
Food
your
in
kids.
its rawest form.
That's right.
Thank you both. Really useful
Thank you.
information. We'll make sure we have the details of the petition on our website.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.